I want to talk about the dynamics of what you do when you work together. One of the guys that is on that committee is Pat Bozarth. Pat builds light form buildings, the building you pour concrete between the styrofoam walls. Another guy is with Tyson, Fresh Meats Director of Tyson Foods. The other person is Eldon Roth with Beef Products Incorporated. Another person is Eric Burtness with Phillips Kiln. Well, Phillips Kiln repairs kilns all over the world and fixes those up. And you got the meat ties. And if you went to Afghanistan or Iraq today, you'll find out that they kill the animals today, feed them. They have no refrigeration, no insulation, nothing out there. So we're actually working on a project right now where we would actually build refrigerated buildings in Iraq and in Iran and in Afghanistan for using light form building, using BPI and Tyson meats in that process. The cement is tied into Phillips Kiln, and Jim Nelson, who's a construction person. So 5 of the people sitting at the table are working on an idea that would have never happened had we not sat down and talked and established that social networking program. So my suggestion is, number one is have everybody meet just like you're doing today, except for face each other with an agenda and with issues to discuss at minimum on an annual basis, and then in short term have the key players meet. Not everybody can meet all the time. Key players meet weekly or monthly and talk about what it is we can do together to make Valley County a better place to build and grow. Keep people advised in your capital improvements program, and be willing to share the talents of your people and your scarce dollars to make them go farther by working together to get that done. I think the placemats is a good positive thing to do in the advertising side, and having shovel-ready sites is key to your economic future. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions or comments anybody have.
Lance, you talked about getting together and comparing agendas with the different groups. How does that work with different timetables as far as when meetings are?
We do it every Monday, and so everybody submits their agendas at Monday noon. We have a little lunch. Everybody pays for their own lunch, and we just read through those agendas and we ask people, why do you want to pave this road, or why do you want to do this, or why is the city going to fix the swimming pool, or whatever it might be. In a very open discussion, and it's not to antagonize the other people. It's to find out, and also find out if there's a way to cooperate, or say, maybe, did you know we're going to do this, that maybe we can marry these 2 projects together. It's to create that aura of trust and working together to get those done. So every Monday at noon. Yes?
What are your top 3 businesses then?
Our top 3 businesses in town would be Beef Products Incorporated.
Is that Tyson?
No. BPI is different than Tyson. Actually is in Dakota City, next door. Our second biggest would be Great West Casualty. Probably the third biggest would be probably a retailer, probably Hy-Vee or the Marina Inn. Probably would be the third private sector one. School might be up in there too. We have a lot of diversity in terms of industries. We're definitely staying on the food cluster side of what we're after. Somebody else had a question over here.
I was just going to ask about your annual meetings. Do you have a facilitator for that, or do you chair that, or how do you get your agenda for that kind of a?
We rotate who is in charge of the meeting. As the city, this spring is our city's going to do it. Last year it was the city of Dakota City. The county did it before that. The school did it before that. So we rotate who does that. We get together, we talk about items that are concerned to each entity, and we have presenters or people from the groups to give us recommendations or ideas, or talk about what steps we need to do. One of them, for instance, has that I gave you 3 examples we're going to do this year. One is on, some people want to establish a youth center. And so, is that a city responsibility? Is that a school responsibility? And if you let county people in, is a county responsible? I don't know. But have people present it, what it is they're after. They want gyms or they want video games. I don't know what they want, but we're gonna do that. Second one has to do with policing services. In some areas, it's easier for our police to take care of than it is the county. We should probably do that. Our county, by the way, we have a 10-year agreement with the county for road maintenance. We don't have very many gravel roads, but our county maintains our gravel roads in our city and actually buys some gravel for our city. We, on the other hand, have machines that sweep streets that the county doesn't have. We have joint street sweepers with the Dakota City and the county, and we let the school district use those programs. I mean, all sorts of things you can do if you want to. It makes sense. The public, by the way, loves this. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they want to see a county government, a city government, a school government, hospital board, whoever be more efficient, working together to save taxpayers' money? Who would be against that? You know, takes a little bit more work to get it done, but it obviously gets the public attitude. A lot of things we do is public attitude out there. Yes?
What's your community's biggest challenge right now then?
Yeah, it's really an interesting issue because we had an industrial client here the other day ask that question. And I purposely sat back because I wanted to hear what other people say. And everybody kind of looked at each other and no one could really come up with an answer for that question. I don't know what
Can I put one out from doing research on your community?
Sure.
What I see on the internet is the problem of your jail making it seem.
Well, that's, okay, that's a good question. On our jail, the city and the county passed, and the public passed, a bill to have our sales tax pay for the jail addition. We have over 2.5 years of excess funds in the account to pay for the jail. So we're way ahead of the game in terms of paying for the jail. And we're refinancing the jail only to get a lower rate in that. The other caveat to that issue is, and we, instead of being 10 years what the voters approved, it likely will be paid off in 7. And so it's going to get paid off 3 years early. So there's really no problem paying on the jail. What happened in the jail has to do with the state's LB 840 program and the old 775 program. What that does is say that if you have an industry that has grown, add more to jobs and more investment in the community, they can get a rebate and they can take that in the form of sales tax. So, and they get 22 years to do that. From the day they sign up for the application to the same they get that done. So they can actually come in, and the city's not a part of the agreement. I've talked to cities across the state where people are shocked to hear that all of a sudden they have, and you don't know who the company is. You don't sign on it, you don't know who they are. But all of a sudden they'll ask for $200,000 or $300,000 of a rebate. It'll come out of what the voters approved for the jail. It'll come out of that fund. It's hard to convince the public. It's hard to convince me how the state can take away money that the citizens voted for a specific purpose. And they never voted for company X to get money back. But that's where it goes. So there is some concerns about that, changing it from 7 years to maybe 7.5 years or something else. But we actually have more than enough money to pay it, and we actually paid the bonds down faster. The city and the county just agreed to lower those interest rates, and which pays it off faster. So I don't see the jail issue at all, not a problem at all. Nor does anybody.
Do we have any more questions? Lance? With that in mind, I want to thank Lance for one more back.
I was just going to ask, how, I mean, you spent some time in town today, this kind of thing, and you guys got started 10 years ago. It sounded like you just started just almost spontaneously. How would you go about starting something like if you, to come into a community like you've seen today, a county-wide deal, you know, what would be the steps you would?
I think there's several things that could be done that I think are relatively easy to be done. I personally, after driving through some of the cities, and you see some places that have some real eyesores. In fact, every one of the communities had eyesores. I would get 3 people in to go through each of your town, one at a time, and identify areas that need to be cleaned up, dressed up. But I'd also make sure that your cities had the tenacity to take action to get them corrected. It's one thing to say your place is a problem. It's another thing to go out and tell people to get the problem taken care of. Your cities have to have enough guts to do that. But I would definitely get that done, because you have some just absolutely gorgeous locations, and then you'll see a dump sitting next door to it. If you go out on the county road out here to north of town, right by the county industrial tract, go to the far north end of that tract, you see, I think, a vacant house sitting in there behind some weeds and stuff. If I was an outside firm wanting to come in, that's certainly not an attractive thing to do. You got a couple places on Main Street that could be dressed up with not a lot of work. A lot of this is not money. It's an issue of just having enough gumption and will and desire to get that done. Your high school, for instance, can be a part of this in terms of a vacant building that's still a structural design. Put a shadow box in front. Put your high school logo in there. Put the high school trophies in there. Put something that looks better than a boarded up building or a setback building. I think that would be one area that I would go get done immediately. The second thing I would submit, and all of you submit your capital improvement budgets to each other and say, well, these are the projects we're going to build in the county, these we're going to build in the city, these we're going to build in the school district. And then forget about what board you represent, but remember you represent the taxpayer. Saying, what is it we can do together, and how can we contribute to building the new school, or building the new playground area, or putting in a park, or building a road in the industrial tract, whatever those might be, of having the board saying, what can we do to get that done. The third thing is I have a key meeting and go through the agendas with each other, set up a time. We're going to meet every Tuesday night at 6 at Charlie's Bar or whatever, I don't care where it's at. But to talk about what we're doing and get that on a continuous basis and establish trust. There's not a person in here who doesn't want to lower property taxes. There's not a person in here who doesn't want to get more efficiency in their government. And it can be done. Not necessarily easy, but it can be done. And I like the idea of the placemats, of getting real facts out, talk about population, education, how many kids are in the school districts, whatever it might be, but give facts, information, and solicit comments back from the public. In the end, it's the citizens that are the real judge in terms of how effective you are as leaders. They're the ones that make that final decision. But if you can create that aura of optimism, that aura of excitement, the aura that we're getting it done, you can make it. You can really make things happen.
What's your population there?
12,500 now. If you look at our population chart, it's just as steady up hill as you want it.
Mark?
He mentioned placemats, and that's interesting. Now, is it a combination of everybody that funds this? So if you're doing this, I don't know, if on a daily basis, you know, are each meal separate? How is, what goes on? You just talk about writing, if you want this approved, that approved.
What I personally, just to give you an example, if you want to take the city, school, and county average, you take 3 months, alternate them through, and have you write up how many miles of street does the county take care of? The hospital, is that a county function?
Yeah.
Hospital, you know, could be a second one. But talk about the functions, or how many people are in your jail. You get real facts out to the people of what's taking place, because so much is done by innuendo and people going off on the tangent. It doesn't cost anything. The only cost you got is printing. You got a great printing company here locally that can print them if you want, somebody can sell